Hi, how's it going? This is Resident of Collinwood for YouTube, back with another video for you guys. This is a Dark Shadows video, but it is an audio story, a fan fiction audio story. No, I do not have nothing written down in front of me. This is coming straight from my mind to you guys. So here we go. This is entitled One Night at Widow's Hill. Rebecca Silverton had just lost her husband, James Silverton, to a violent sea storm some 2 weeks ago. Rebecca was heading to the one place she had never been before, the town of Collinsport, Maine. The reason she was headed there was obvious. Her husband was from there. She never got to go, so she decided to. It felt like something was pulling her there, really. Maybe it was her. Maybe it was James. Maybe it was their love. For though James was dead, she still loved him and missed him very much. Rebecca, now in Collinsport, is looking around. She sees the docks. She sees the cannery. James, you son of a bitch. Now I see why you became a sailor. Rebecca smiled. She walked into the cafe where a young woman was just serving breakfast. Oh, hello there. Hi, Rebecca had said. I'm new in town. I don't suppose there's any places to stay. Well, there's a hotel in this very building. You could get one there. I'll think about it. You know what? I think I will actually. I don't know why I'm so nervous. I guess I've never been in this town. The young lady behind the counter was named Terry Davis. Terry found Rebecca very odd, but she didn't want to bring that up. Her house. So she asked her, "So you've never been here, huh? So why come to Collinsport now?" Rebecca just stared at the young lady first. "Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't really introduce myself. The name tag says Terry. I am Terry Davis. I'm from Collinsport. I was born and raised here. But you're not from here, but yet you're coming here. I just curious as to know why. It's a small town, you know. People eventually start talking that a new girl has come to town, and they'll ask why. Yeah, I guess I do sort of stick out like a sore thumb, huh? Rebecca replied. Terry, yes, yes, you do. Rebecca said, I lost my husband. You lost? I'm so sorry, Terry had said to Rebecca. Terry goes, I didn't mean to upset you. I had no idea. Rebecca held up her right hand. It's okay. I guess it isn't. No, not what you asked me or prying, really. I guess I'm not okay. I've come to this town. I really don't know why, other than he was from here. Is there a place people go to mourn sailors? Something I don't know. Uh, you don't want to go to the place I'm thinking of. What? Why not? What place you? Look, just stay the night here in the hotel, and in the morning leave. Okay? Terry did not answer her. She found so Rebecca, instead of waiting to order breakfast, had got up and left. She walked outside. There was an there was another there was a couple other people in the restaurant. One man couldn't help but heard her conversation, so he got up and he walked away and followed young Rebecca. He got outside. "Excuse me," the man said. A middle-aged man with silver hair and brown eyes was walking toward Rebecca. Rebecca was looking at him. Rebecca, um, yeah? In many ways I shouldn't tell you this, but I guess I will. Every town has a legend. Well, this town has so many I've lost count, really. But we do have a legend concerning sailors here. It started a long time ago. You see, there were these women. Rachel Comstock was the wife of a fisherman, and they had 5 sons, all sailors, and they were all lost at sea, her husband and her 5 sons. When Rachel got the news, she said the same words over and over. "The sea is my grave. My grave is the sea." She went up to the hill one night and threw 6 white roses into the sea, one for her husband and each of her sons. Then she jumped to her death, young lady. Rebecca held her hand up to her mouth. Then there was Abigail Tolliver. She was a new bride. Her husband was found dead by drowning. Just a few days after her marriage, she followed him into the sea. Her bridal bouquet was found on the rocks beside her body. Rebecca almost couldn't believe what she was hearing. But your story sort of scares me. Rebecca dropped her hand from her mouth. My story? Yeah. Said your husband was from here. I guess he's dead, right? Yeah, he died by a violent sea storm. He was in his own boat. They were fishing. They got caught up in a real bad storm. I mean, don't get me wrong, the bodies were found. They were all dead. Terry's right. Rebecca, you should go home. Get the hell away from here. Wait, is something wrong? It's just you remind me of the third widow, Margaret Finley. The third widow? Yeah. You see, her husband was lost in a sea storm. She came to the hill that night and followed him. She died. She jumped to the rocks below. It's a 1,000-foot drop there ain't no coming back from. I take it there is no coming back from something like that, obviously. But, well, what's that got to do with me? Well, let me tell you something, young lady. Any person who comes to town or is from here and loses a sailor or loses a love and the ocean takes a loved one, we all just wonder what's going to happen. You see, because legend goes that a fourth widow will join the 3. Join them? Are you meaning in death? I ain't just meaning in death. Them three women, they haunt that hill up there. The man pointing up toward Widow's Hill. Come on, you don't really believe that, do you? Rebecca asked the man. Everybody in Collinsport believes that legend. So take Terry's advice and go home. Get out of here and get as far away from here as you can. And don't turn back. You've been warned. The man walked away without saying anything else. Rebecca was never one to believe in ghosts and spirits. In fact, she didn't believe much of anything. She was not a believer of God, of the devil. She did love her husband, though, and they were married in the church. But she was a woman who had no faith. Now, Rebecca went into a store. She bought a sleeping bag, a pillow, 2 thick blankets. She had put them in her car. Rebecca thought to herself, I'm not going to let some legend scare me. Rebecca had also bought a map while she was in the store. In her car, she had opened the map and she had looked how to get to Widow's Hill. All she had to do was drive up the long road, a road called Collinwood Way. So, Rebecca did indeed drive up that road, and drive and drive and drive. The drive up the road kept getting steeper and steeper and steeper. Each curve was dangerous. She had to take them slow, or she might go off the road and off into the Atlantic. Finally, Rebecca came to the end of Collinwood Road. There was a sign: left, Widow's Hill Road, right, Collinwood. Rebecca turned left without even thinking of it. She had got on Widow's Hill Road. She did not have far to go, for she stopped in what looked like an open field that was surrounded by tall, thick trees. The trees had no leaves on them, considering it was late fall. Rebecca grabbed her sleeping bag, her thick blankets, and her pillow. She had walked through the woods, around the trees. She kept going and going and going. And as she cleared the last tree, she could see it. The long cliff. It almost looked like a plank to a pirate ship. She laid her sleeping bag on the ground. It opened it up. She laid her blankets down beside it, and then her pillow. She did not lay down right away. She walked near the cliff. Then she stopped and looked up and saw the view of the sea. A view so beautiful. Rebecca, my God, I can't. How beautiful is it up here? Why would people say such awful things that weren't true? Rebecca thought the legend silly. Rebecca, well, Guess I'm gonna have a long night here because I'm gonna stay the night here. And what's one night at Widow's Hill anyway? Rebecca wasn't totally alone. Though she had no cell service, even though she had a cell phone, something seemed to be blocking her signal. She did have a book and she began reading it. She sat in her little bed, just reading. She wasn't tired. Then something very strange happened. Out of nowhere, a sudden gust of wind. The wind blew Rebecca's hair, covering her eyes, stopping her from reading the book. Rebecca took her right hand and cleared her hair away from her eyes. Again the wind blew, this time harder. Whistling away. Again the wind blew and blew. The trees shook. What the hell? Rebecca thought. She tried to read her book, but no matter how many times she tried, the wind kept blowing. Oh, come on. Then Rebecca heard something, but she could swear it was just the wind. Rebecca! A woman's voice was calling out to her, but Rebecca had ignored it, for she thought it was just the wind playing tricks on her. The wind sort of sounded like a person. Wind blew again. Frickin' wind. It is nice up here, though. It's sort of cold, but I'm okay. I have a blanket. Again, the wind blew, and once again her name was called. Rebecca! Rebecca! This time there was no mistaking it. Someone had called her name. She could not dismiss it as the wind. Then again her name was called. Rebecca! Rebecca! This time her name was called in unison. Rebecca! Join us! Join us, Rebecca! Rebecca closed her book. She looked around, but she could not see anybody. It was not dark yet, so she could still see there was nobody there. What, what are you doing? There's no ghost. Rebecca decided to fall asleep. She thought maybe if she dreamed, she would not hear the wind and hear her name be called by it. Rebecca did sleep, but her sleep was not terribly long. It was just long enough to get dark, and then she would be awakened. Rebecca! Rebecca! Rebecca sat up, rubbing the sleep from her eyes. Who's there? What do you want from me? Join us, Rebecca. Join us. I can't see you. Who's there? A question Rebecca had asked that she would soon regret asking. for there, materializing directly in front of her, were three women. Uh, Rebecca's lip quivered. Her eyes were wide. Who, 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 what, who? Rebecca, the woman said in unison. Wait, wait, Rebecca. Join us, Rebecca. Come with us. We're so lonely. We want someone else to talk to. Rebecca. Get the hell away from me. What do you want me for? Want me for what? I don't understand, Rebecca had said. One ghost. I am Rachel Comstock. Rebecca. Rachel. My name is Rachel. I died at the bottom of this hill. And we want you to join us, Rebecca. Don't you want to be with James again, Rebecca? Oh, you can have him again, Rebecca. Yes, the other ghost answered. Abigail. I'm Abigail Tolliver, Rebecca. Rebecca. I would like to see you jump too. You have to jump. Rebecca, I don't have to do a goddamn thing. I didn't make you jump. It was very strange for Rebecca. For again, she did not believe in ghosts. And perhaps she should. She doesn't want to believe. She's not really terrified of anything. But now she was terrified of something. These two ghosts. And it wasn't over. Rebecca! A third ghost had appeared. My name is Margaret, Rebecca. Rebecca, you must jump. James is waiting for you, Rebecca. Don't you love James Silverton? He's here, Rebecca. All you have to do is jump to the rocks below. Jump, 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 the ghosts start chanting. She stands up screaming, I'm not gonna jump. They circle her like a pack of sharks. Jump, 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 jump. All of them leaning at her, telling her, jump, jump, jump. They begin, jump, again, jump, jump. No, James would not want me to jump. You didn't know him. We know everybody from this town, Rebecca. Your husband believed in the legend of Widow's Hill. He knew of this place. He used to come here as a child and play near the cliff. We would watch him, just like we know his boat overturned in a storm. Tears were coming from Rebecca's eyes now. You bitches, shut up. Shut up. Rebecca begins backing away. Then, slowly, the widows walk toward her. They're smiling, but Rebecca stops and turns. She almost loses her balance, but catches herself from falling to the rocks below. You're trying to get me to fall. Why? Don't you get it? Jump. You should jump. James James is waiting, remember. Just remember it. The women all three chanted at once. The sea is my grave. My grave is the sea. The sea is my grave. My grave is the sea. This causes Tara's lips to quiver, her hands to shake. She shakes her head. She envisions her lifeless body below, crushed by the rocks and waves. She walks away. Now, Rebecca stood at the cliff. She looked down at the rocks. No, this isn't what James would want. He would not want me to jump. I don't want to jump. Rebecca backed away slowly. Jump, jump. The girls start chanting again. Jump, jump, jump. It's almost like a hypnotic trance. And slowly, but surely, the ghost just begin to stop. She stops, backs away from the cliff. She looks around, as she does, looking for the ghost. She cannot see them. She runs through the woods. She runs and runs and runs. She sees a large Gothic mansion. She runs toward it. Rebecca does. She gets to the door, pounding on, and then begins pounding. Let me in! Let me in! Please, God! Please, someone be home! Just then the door knob turned and had come open. Standing before Rebecca was an elderly woman with blonde hair. I, I need to come in and use your phone. Shh. Carolyn. Hi, I'm Carolyn Collins Stoddard Hawks. You need to use my phone? Sure, come in. Carolyn invited the young lady in. Rebecca had picked up the phone. She dialed out. She had called the sheriff's office. You gotta come up to Widow's Hill. They're bothering me. The ghosts, they're bothering me. The sheriff began to laugh. Why is that funny to you? Why? Look, lady, what do you want me to do? Arrest a ghost? For what? Scaring you? They're supposed to scare you. Good night. The officer hung up. Rebecca couldn't believe what she was hearing. Carolyn walked in. She had made some tea for them. Here, I made this for you. Rebecca looked at her glass. She noticed the ripple in the tea. She noticed something on the edge of her teacup. A woman, seemingly dressed like her, who just fell forward and seemed to disappear. The tea began to reveal rocks. Rebecca couldn't believe it. She pinched herself. This pinch caused her to wake up. It was just a dream. The house, the tea, but what about the ghost? I'm leaving. I'm leaving now, Rebecca said. Don't leave. Don't leave. Rebecca got up out of her sleeping bag. She pinched herself again to make sure she was awake this time. I don't want to jump. But James, don't you love James? The widow's taunting her. Rebecca, it's so painless. It's so simple. One jump, and he's yours again. You're lying to me. Rebecca began to cry. This time the tears were not part of her dream. This was all too real. Jump, Rebecca, jump. Rebecca could not help herself. Again, one more time she had walked toward the cliff. She did not turn to face the ghost. She stood, and instead of looking out, she had looked down to the rocks below, the waves crashing upon them. The widows will not push you, for they cannot. It is your choice to jump. But once again, they say the one thing that they all said before jumping. The sea is my grave. My grave is the sea. The sea is my grave. My grave is the sea. Rebecca, looking at the rocks below, thinking of James, thinking of how he died at the hands of the ocean, the tears coming from her eyes. James, I love you. James. James. But no reply. Again the widows. The sea is my grave. My grave is the sea. The sea is my grave. My grave is the sea. Tears still flowing from Rebecca's eyes. The sea is my grave. My grave is the sea. Is this what you want for me, James? Tell me. Tell me what you want me to do. Tell me. My grave is the sea is my grave. My grave is the sea. The sea is. The widows chanted louder and louder. Rebecca lets out a scream. Suddenly, she found herself hanging off the cliff. Help me! Please! Please! The widows just stared at her. There was nothing they could really do for her. They continued their chant. The sea is my grave. My grave is the sea. The sea. She screamed and screamed. Help me! Somebody, please! I don't want to die. Help me! Help me! Each finger slipping more and more. Help me! My grave is the sea is my grave. My grave is the sea. The sea is my grave. My grave is the sea. The widows chanting. They were wanting their fourth widow to join them, and they felt that Rebecca was the one. So they continued their chant. The sea is my grave. My grave is the sea. This isn't what I want. This isn't what I want. Her fingers slipping more and more, and finally they slipped. She began to fall and fall, and suddenly a hand reached out, grabbing her by the wrist. Two hands, two large hands grabbing her. An elderly man was above her. Hold on! Tears in her eyes, she couldn't make out the man's face. Help me. I'm gonna pull you up. Don't fight it, okay? Don't struggle. I might drop you. the elderly man pulling her up and up and up, finally getting her back above the cliff and onto the and up on top of it again. They both sat beside each other. Rebecca backed away from the cliff. The man watched her. He got up. Rebecca, realizing how tall the man is, he walked toward her. Are you all right? What are you doing up here? The elderly man had said. Rebecca looked over at the widows, and slowly they disappeared. What are you looking at? The elderly man had asked. Did you see the widows? Rebecca shook. She began to cry again. The elderly man bent down and hugged her. He picked her up, standing her up. She wrapped, though she did not know the man, she wrapped her arms around him. Sorry, James. The elderly man. My name's not James. It's Quentin. Quentin Collins. Who's James? The woman stepped. He was my husband. He died in a sea storm. I see. So you were drawn to this place. But you chose not to jump. But the widows were tempting you, weren't they? Yes. Yes. The woman cried. Quentin took off his jacket and wrapped it around the young lady. He had walked her back to her car. He had sat her in the driver's seat. Why don't you drive back to town? Rent, rent a room. Stay the night. And in the morning leave town. And I promise you, no one will know anything about this. I won't say anything. Rebecca looked at the elderly man. She was so shaky. Thank you. Quentin Collins, you don't have to thank me. But if you really want to thank me, don't come back to this place no more. Because the next time, someone might not be able to catch you from going off that cliff. For one night at Widow's Hill could be a night of eternity as a ghost every night, my dear. Some legends are real. Trust me, I know. The end. I hope you guys enjoyed this story. Again, I'm not trying to offend anybody, so if I do offend anybody with this story, because it gets into suicide, obviously, I apologize. I really wanted to tell some stories for Halloween. I have some more coming. I also have some more Dark Shadows videos I'm gonna do. I'm gonna do one Tuesday. I'll do one Tuesday night. I'll do one Wednesday night. I'll do one, and Thursday night I'll do one. I'll have 3 videos for 3 nights. So, hope you guys have a great night.